Alright guys, trying to get this camera straight. Give me a quick moment. Alright. Appreciate you connecting with me. Alright, so I'm gonna be going live on both Instagram and YouTube at the same time. See if we can get some good value out of today. Show you guys some infinity pieces, G37, and appreciate you guys joining me. I'm not gonna take up too much of your time, but I'm gonna give you some quick tips and everything. You guys can check me out, Instagram and YouTube going at the same time. I appreciate you guys coming in. So what I got is some G37 Coupe pieces here, and we're gonna be wrapping a few pieces. I'm gonna be dyeing a few pieces and giving you guys some tips and pointers on how you can do your own parts and pieces, and showing you what we're using. This is a Bulldog plastic promoter. This is great stuff. This is what's gonna allow you to be able to stick the paint to these plastic pieces, trim pieces, and don't worry about it trying to scrape off. Also, a great paint to use, and it's real cheap, and you can actually buy this at Walmart. It's this Krylon rust protector. And this stuff right here is great. This stuff is great. The color of it, if you look here, nice gloss black finish. And we're gonna hit this one more time because I was testing it to make sure it doesn't scrape off. It scratched it a little bit there, but it doesn't scrape down to the plastic. So you guys are seeing it firsthand. It's definitely some good stuff. All right, appreciate you guys for joining me, YouTube and Instagram. All right. So jump right in. I'm gonna try to cut this light on. Hopefully it's not blinding you. Get us a little light there. There we go. All right. All right, so we're gonna start out with some A-pillars here. And it does have a little trim piece here, and that's what we're gonna be dyeing, kind of show you guys what we got going on. I'm gonna pop this little piece out of here real quick. And we'll just sit this to the side for now. Do the same for this one. And like I said, these pieces we're gonna be dyeing. I'm gonna show you on these two pieces exactly what I'm going to be doing to the rest of this stuff. So I'm not going to go through all of this stuff, but I am going to show you on these pillars, these A-pillars today, how we wrap it, and I'm going to explain to you the difference between the foam back and the unback, and what it is that you should be using depending on what pieces you're trying to wrap. So when I explain it, you guys can, kind of get an idea of what's the difference and what's gonna make it all work out. So So just stay with me real quick. I'm getting everything prepped. One of the things that we're gonna do, I'll tell you about, is this pillar itself. When you feel it, it's spongy. So underneath there is foam. And that right there is kind of how you want to gauge what material you need to go back with. So if you get a part trim off your car and it has foam underneath it, then you want to consider going back with foam. If you're dealing with something like a BMW, but when you feel it there's no padding underneath there, then you can just use the regular unback and go either right on top of that material, because in most cases that material has been put on with a machine and it's not going to really come off. So you know, you can try and strip it off, but a lot of times it's just going to be very difficult to get it off. So it doesn't hurt for you to go right on top of that material with the unback and give you that awesome look that you're looking for. So this one, like I said, guys, it does have padding underneath, so that tells us that we're going to use our foam back suede material. And we are doing black suede on this job today. Good shout out to a good friend of mine, On the Way to the Top. If you want to check out his Instagram page, we'll be posting his vehicle there on my page and also on his page. And Jermaine, he sent me his pieces, and we're gonna lay this out today and do an awesome job for him. So I'm glad you guys are joining in with me, checking out what we're doing. And I'm gonna get right into it now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start stripping this stuff off. And all we're gonna do is just peel this material right off of here. We'll just strip it down just like that. All right. And me, I like to save a piece of the material just so that way I can use this as a guide to make sure that I'm selling a great match for these colors. So I'll be marking this up as an original fabric, so that way we can match it and make sure that we sell the original fabric back to whoever's buying this kit for a car. Now this vehicle is actually a 2008 Infiniti G37, and like I said, it belongs to a good friend of mine. On the Way to the Top is his Instagram handle, and I'll be tagging him on this video once we upload it. So right here, we still have some dead foam that's on here, and it kind of scrapes off a little bit. You can see it's coming off there. But what I'm gonna do, I got my trash can here, and I got a wire brush. I'm gonna go in and knock off as much of it I can. And just get it down to the plastic setting. All right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to get the majority of this stuff off of there, so that way you can get a great bond on your plastic. Another important thing to remember is you want to be able to create a nice seal on this thing, so we're going to scrape on the back side here just to make sure we can lap over on the back side and make sure we have a nice bond. All right. So this thing's looking pretty good. So now that's all set. Our next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and prep these pieces so that way they can be drying and getting ready for paint. In order to do that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna be using some lacquer thinner paint remover, and you can buy this stuff at any hardware store. And this stuff right here is great for removing the oil, because what's happening is when you get ready to paint these things, we're already using our fingertips, and there's oil on our fingertips, but there's already oil that has gathered from either using Armor All or just stuff that's in the air, and it's sitting on top of here. So we want to be able to remove all that oil, because oil and paint doesn't mix. So you're not going to be able to get a good coating if you're sitting there with oil sitting on top of there. So that's the thing that we want to do. Now I'm just going to use some old headliner here as my rag. And in most cases, I should be wearing some gloves. I've been doing this for a long time. Today, I'm just gonna get right into it. I'm gonna be careful not to get this on my hands. But you just watch what I'm doing here. I'm gonna grab this piece on a part that's not gonna be needing paint, which is right here. And then I'm just gonna wipe this thing down here. And this right here will get a vast majority of that oil off of there, but I am gonna get some sandpaper, and I'm gonna hit it with a light coat of sandpaper, lightly scuff it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna wipe it one more time. All right. Now our sandpaper that we're using today is just gonna be some P500, and I got a P1000. So the bigger the number, the more finer the grit is, which means that it's not going to knock that much off. So we're going to hit it with the 500 first, which is a little more coarse, and we're just going to lightly scuff it, nothing heavy, just lightly scuff it up a little bit. And this is just going to allow for that paint to grab right in there real good. Lightly scuff it up a little bit. Then I'm going to hit it with this 1000 grit. And that'll just smooth out any imperfections that I might have caused when I hit it with the 500, is what that's doing. All right. So now that I got that situated, next I'm gonna wipe it down one more time. And that'll get off any of the grit or any of the dust that's sitting on there. And now those pieces are ready for to shoot. We'll go ahead and sit them to the side right here. The first thing we want to do is, like I told you, we're going to be using our Bulldog promoter. And this stuff right here is a little expensive, but it's one of the best things out there. So it actually runs about $32 a can. But I've done probably about 4 or 5 vehicles with this can. So the cost basically spreads itself out, you know, as far as, because I'm doing a lot of cars. So just want to kind of let you know that if you're going to be doing your own car, you might want to split a can with a buddy or something like that, so that way you guys can you know, absorb that cost and it won't cost you that much. But like I said, this right here is Bulldog adhesion promoter is what this is. And once I upload this video, I'm going to be putting the link to this stuff down in the video description, and you guys can go check it out. All right, so now I got my pieces done. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put a light coat of this promoter on here, and you want to just shake your can well. Give it a good shake, and just give it some light shots. And you can see that I'm spraying this at about 8 to 10 inches away from the parts. You don't want to be down on it because you're going to get runs. It's gonna build up too much at one time. So you want to give it just a little light shot. And I'm going to hit it from another angle, just so I can get an even coat going across. And that's all you need to put on there. You don't need much. You don't need to build it up real heavy, but you want to give it a light coat. We'll let that sit and dry. And now let's get into wrapping one of our pillars. All right. And like I said, this is a 2008 G37 that we're doing. And we're going to make it look beautiful today. You want to just get all the grit off there and make it as smooth as possible. We're going to put foam back on it, so you're not going to see too much imperfection as it is anyway. But you want to make sure we got a nice bond, a nice tight bond, to make sure that it's going to last from here going forward. So now that I have this thing clean to good specs, and I'm happy with it, pretty happy with it, I'm going to go ahead and get my material, and we'll cut us a piece and get going. All right, hold on one second. All right, so I already had a little small piece cut here, but I'm just gonna lay it out. You want to be as efficient as you can to make sure that you can do as many pieces as you can do out of your suede, because it's a little expensive, but it's worth it. All right. So now we got us a nice little piece here. I'm going to show you guys my technique of how I jump in here, and let me get the camera in a good spot for you. You guys on Instagram here, appreciate you joining with me. Okay. And you guys on YouTube, appreciate you as well. First time going live on both channels, but I'm loving it. Hoping I'm giving you guys some value. If I am, please give me a thumbs up on the video, or tell me in the chat, because that's what YouTube likes, and that's what Instagram likes, is for you guys to say something in the chat. So let us know we got some engagement here. Really would appreciate it. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. So now we're gonna go ahead and spray our glue. And I'm gonna be using our gun today, but one of the things I wanted to let you guys know, we're gonna be a distributor for Cami 393. And this stuff right here, great stuff, guys. It has a paintball inside, which I kind of don't like the rattling, but hey, it's gonna do a great job of mixing this thing up for you. So you wanna shake it up real good. That's one of the biggest key to using this spray. A lot of people don't know, but you wanna be able to shake it up real good to make sure you're gonna get a nice even spray across there. Because there's oils and all types of stuff inside of here, and it needs to mix and blend to give you a nice even spray. So that's about the shaking that you need. Another good thing about this stuff is on the top here, it has a low, medium, and high. Showing you here. It has low, medium, and high, so you can actually adjust how you want to spray. And I'm going to switch it over to medium just so we can be in the middle of this thing. And you want to spray it just like that. Give it a nice distance. Take your time with it. Get you a nice, good, even coat. And then once you spray that, then I recommend you come over here and spray your fabric. And then you'll let that sit about 30 seconds. So while I chop it up with you guys and making sure that you're hitting that like button, you know, give me a thumbs up in the chat, letting us know that we're doing a great job here. I really appreciate that. So you can touch it and it should feel very sticky. And it's still a little bit wet, so I'm gonna let it sit for just a couple more seconds while we're talking here, because this is basically the magic to the whole thing. You don't want to let it dry on you, so you don't want to go and get you a burger, come back and it's all dry, because that ain't gonna work. But you do want to keep your eye on it, and when you see it just starting to dry up on you, it kind of starts to bubble. What that's doing is what is called flashing, and it's releasing the gases out of this this spray, and it's getting ready to grab and bond. And I'll show you exactly how it's going to do that. So this glue is what we call a contact adhesive. And what that means is when you contact the two together is when you get your great bond. So if you look, we'll go ahead and just lay this thing down like this. Give it a nice little rub right there on the top. But look, it's barely wanting to come up because it's all nice and sticky. I'm giving it a good pull, but it barely wants to come up. Now, the longer you let that sit, see, it's getting very tacky there. So this stuff, like I said, you can let it sit about a minute, you know what I'm saying, 30 seconds to a minute, and you're ready to put it down. You don't want to wait 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. You'll come back and it'll be dry and you'll have to spray it again. So you see, I'm able to pick this thing up, is what type of bun we got going here. So now, because this is a stretch suede, you want to wrap it and look at it, make sure that you're not getting any wrinkles on your stuff. And I like to give it a nice rub. I like the feel of it. And there it is, it's going on nice and pretty. Flip it over on the other side. Pull it tight to make sure you don't get any wrinkles in there. And give it a nice rub. There we go. Then I'll fold this thing back again. And see, as I'm pulling it this way, I'm almost starting to pull up the foam. So off the backer here, but we don't want that, so I'm gonna pause right there. But you can see it's got a nice good coating, and it's very tacky. It's very tacky. See there? Very tacky. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this other side here. And I like to spray the part a little more heavier than I do the material, just so I don't make sure I don't have any bleed through or anything through there. But when you have the foam on here, you're not gonna really get any bleed through. But it's just a good practice to make sure you don't overspray and you don't have globs that seep through. Because if you just pile this stuff on, whether you pile it on here or you pile it on here, when you go to lay it down, it can absorb through the foam because it is foam. So we give it a light spray so that way it kind of creates a barrier once it starts to tack up. It's what it's doing. All right. And that's all you need there. So we'll let this sit for just a second here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull my little trim pieces back over here that we were spraying on. And I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little light coat of my spray. Now I'm almost out of this spray, but I do have some of my Sims paint one, and we got a nice good full can of that. I'm gonna go ahead and hit a couple of layers with that, but I'm gonna top it off with this one because I really like how it looks. But I'm just about out of this can, and I want to be able to show you guys a good demonstration. So I'm gonna do a couple layers with this, then I'll come back and top it off with that. All right, so that's all I'm gonna lay out right now is that little spray. I'm gonna move these back over to the side, and I'm just gonna keep hitting layers on that until I get it to the perfection that I want it. All right, so I actually talked a little too long there, so it's dry on me, so I'm gonna hit it one more time with the glue. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna let it sit about 30 seconds there, and then we'll come back and lay it down, and then this piece will be ready to trim out. We'll flip it over, trim out the edges, and get it ready to go. All right. So I'm gonna give it a nice little tug, just a little bit, to make sure I pull the wrinkle out right here. Because what happens is, you'll end up with a little bit of wrinkle starting to form there, but if you see, I'm gonna pull it up a little bit, then I'm gonna stretch it out, and then I'm gonna lay it down. There you go. You see, it has a small little wrinkle there. We're gonna pull all that out. I'm gonna show you. You pull it up, stretch it a little bit, and lay it down. Because you wanna make sure that you're not letting it bunch up on you, and then we'll just fold it right over. Then we got a nice, smooth finish. All right, we'll get it right all the way to the edge there. Get it right all the way to the edge there. All right, so that thing's coming out real nice there. Coming out real nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and sit this to the side one more time. We're gonna put a light coat on our trim piece here. All right, so it's really starting to take shape. I'm gonna pull you guys in here a little bit and show you what we got. You don't want to let it run on you, so you don't want to lay it out too heavy, but this is what you want. You guys see it there. You see it's not bubbling up or anything. It's just got a nice nice little coat to it. And we're gonna keep hitting it until we get what we want, get it to the level we want. I think painting the trim is very important for you guys. Let's see here. I see that there's some questions on here. I kind of got my little thing rigged up here, so what I'll do is you guys put the questions there and I'll actually go back and answer every single question that you guys put up there. But definitely want the adhesion. Definitely don't want the adhesion on the suede. Yeah, you definitely don't. Yeah, it happens sometimes. But sometimes you can't overspray on the suede. And when that happens, sometimes you can come in here with this and to give it a light little brush. You can't. Now, one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to put this directly on the suede. What you do is you put it on a piece of material. So you'll get a piece of material. You'll put this on here, and then you'll lightly scrub it a little bit and let this stuff break up the glue, and then from there, then you give it another little scrub, and sometimes it'll come right off. So if you ever run into that problem, that's kind of the tactic that you'll try to, the approach you want to try to do on there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit this thing one more time because it's already drying up. It's coming around real nice. And I'm gonna turn it so that way I can get inside those little vents. All right. Now, I've put a nice, good layer of paint on here to where now I am gonna come in here when we get ready to do this, and I will finish it out with this. Because this color is more of a matte color, but I want it to have a nice, good shine to it, like our other piece that we have here. So, this piece here, this is a nice look. And when we bond this with the suede, man, it's just gonna stand out. You guys are gonna love it. Like I said, I'm about out of this stuff. It's so great. I've done a few cars with it, so I'm excited to really get it on here. Appreciate you guys for joining me. Like I said, if you would, hit that like button for me. And it just tells YouTube that we're doing something great here, and they'll show it to more and more people. It's really what it does. So these pieces are pretty much laid out, and everything's ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and finish up our pillar here. So what we got to do now is we're going to flip it over, and we're going to go ahead and lay out some more glue here on the edges, so that way we can tuck it and pull it over. And what that really does, it seals this thing to where there's no air that gets under there. A lot of these pillars, when they come from the factory, they're cut right at the edge, and even though there's a little bit of trim that goes around it, the air eventually gets under there and it dries the foam out, and next thing you know, this thing's coming apart on you. Well, we don't want that. It's Headliner Magic, and what we do is we show you the right way to give you some quality stuff in your ride that you're going to be proud of. So you guys stay tuned. I'm going to show you. We're going to go in here and just put a little spray around the edges here, trim it out, and then we're going to be done. We'll end up inserting our pieces back in, and I'll show you guys the finished product you can be proud of. All right, here we go. Now on your nozzle, what I'm doing, I'm just getting off the little bit of glue that gathers on the tip to give it a nice good shape, because if you let that stuff build up on there, what it starts to do is it'll end up splattering on you and going all everywhere. So you just want to get that, clean that little tip out of the way every now and then, depending on how many pieces you're doing. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna actually spray the edges. All right, so I put a nice little build up on there because that's where it's very important to make sure we get a nice bun. And we're gonna let that sit for just a few seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and get our razor blades out so we can get ready to trim this thing up, and then we're gonna be doing a fantastic job. All right. Give me a quick second. I'm gonna run and go grab my blades from right here. All right. Now these right here are just regular little single edge razor blades. We sell these on our website if you guys need those, but you can use a pair of scissors, whatever you got. You just get it done. You want to have something to give you a nice, good cut. A pair of scissors can do it. Pocket knife, if it's sharp enough. You guys carry pocket knife or anything of the sort. But right now, this thing should be tacked up real nice. It's got a nice sticky bond to it, so I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap those edges. And another little tip I'm gonna show you here. What you wanna do is you're pulling this thing over to make sure that you bring out any wrinkles that's on the backside here. That's the trick to this thing. And once you got that thing folded over there, then you're just gonna take your blade and slide it right down there like that. And you'll pull that trim off. Make sure you guys can see me here. Now when you come into these corners, what you want to do is make it into a Dorito chip almost. You want to bring it in an angle like this. So you might bring this one across this way, and then you bring the other one across the other way. And then you squeeze it, and it'll be in a little angle like this. It'll be in a little angle like this. And once you got that, then you take your blade and you just follow that little contour just like that. And you'll cut this side, and then you'll come on this side and cut that side. And what that does, it gives you a little angle just like that. Yeah. And that's gonna make it where the two pieces bond together like that. And when you turn it over on the other side, it looks beautiful. It's perfect. There we go, it's perfect. I'm just basically tucking these edges under there, making it look beautiful. And then I'll come around with the blade again and just trim that all down. Make sure I get all the excess off of there. There we go. I'll put the little extra in the trash there. And man, this thing looks great. It looks great. You guys seeing that? Now, where we took this vent out on the side here, which is right about here, on this side here, we're gonna get ready to open that up. Now, it's very important that you guys watch this little part here, because you can do all this work and get it finished and get to this point. You guys get right to this point, but then if you cut this wrong, man, it just makes the job look a little bad. So you want to feel for it, and that's what I'm doing here. I want to make myself familiar with how wide that hole is. Now, what you want to do is you want to know that you don't have to cut it exact, because we don't want to cut it exact. All we want to do is put a nice split in it first. And that's going to allow us, we're going to actually come right in the middle of it and put a nice little split in there. And that's going to allow us to open this thing up like this and be able to look in there and see where we are. Once we know where we are, then we can start trimming it back a little bit more and making it, getting it perfected. So the way this thing is made, when you look at this vent, it's gonna have basically 4 corners to it. So you're gonna actually put your razor blade inside the hole here, and you're gonna put a nice split and come into the center. You're gonna come from this side and come into the center. You're gonna come from this side and come into the center. Come from this side and come into the center. And what that's gonna do is make enough relief so you can slide this thing in there and it'll just open it up. That's the key to this thing. I didn't show you guys over here, but you'll come from each corner and come to the center. And so that's what I'm gonna show you here. When we're filling for this thing, I put my finger right in the edge of the corner there. So now I'm gonna take my razor blade, now that I know where the edge is, and I'm just gonna poke it down in there and come to the center. I'm gonna find this side here, like I was showing over here on YouTube. I got my finger there, so now I know where the edge is. I'm gonna put my blade there and come to the center and make a nice little cut there. Then I'll fold these pieces back and it starts to open up. Once you see it, it starts to open up. You can see it's starting to take shape, but you haven't lost any materials on the edge. So what that's gonna do is gonna make it nice and round. So when you put the piece in there, it's not cut too short. It's not cut too short at all. And that's the key. So I'm gonna come on this side and do the same process. Cut me a nice little relief, and then I'll fold it back. So now I'm gonna insert my little piece back in there. got the wrong side in. Yep. So we get the right side in there. There we go. Now it's taking shape. And as I'm sliding this thing in there, it's just gonna lock in place like that. Look at that, guys. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. Nice, pretty suede. Beautiful. So when that thing's sitting up there, you got a nice little glossy piece that's accenting the rest of the suede. I'm pretty happy about it, guys. This is relaxing for me. It's not work. It's fun. It's like a hobby. Who knew I was gonna get paid to do this type of work? You know, it's exciting. You know what I'm saying? What can I say? Please, guys, hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. I want to say I appreciate you for joining me today. It's Headliner Magic, and this is what we do. We want to bring to you some tips and ideas on how to wrap your pillars and also how to dye your trim pieces. Like I said, when I upload this thing, I am going to put a link to where you guys can get the tools and stuff here that you see on the video. I want to say I really appreciate you guys for joining me, YouTube and Instagram. Thank you, and you guys have a wonderful weekend. And tomorrow's a holiday. I'll be up here at the shop doing a few things, getting some of your orders together. It's nothing gonna ship tomorrow, but we got plenty of orders we need to get out. Want to thank you guys for your orders and everything, and how you've been supporting Headliner Magic, and we just want to give back. Let me know what things we can do in the future to show you some new stuff. I am going to be working on some more projects. I have 7 old school cars, and I'm going to be rebuilding those cars and showing you guys some tips and tricks. I have another channel that I hadn't did much with yet, but I'm going to be cranking it up here soon. It's called Rust to Lust, and that's my 7 old school cars that I have that I'm going to be building out and showing you guys some tips and tricks. I know I've gotten some requests on how to do the bow style headliners. I actually have a 63 Impala. It's going to need a headliner in there. I'm going to be showing you guys that step by step. Alright, sorry about that. I had an alarm on there. But you guys, want to tell you I appreciate you again for joining me. Hit the like button again, if you would. And you guys have a great weekend. Alright.